Yeah. Mm. Hello. My screen is visible. All of you.
Yes, you are audible.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. So let's start. Okay. So before we start, so anyone any question, any doubt in any topic from previously? Okay. So so at the last that we will discuss that all about the path injection issues, where we can see how we can secure that the path injection. We can see like about the directed traveling attack, and we will discuss that how that we can secure this type of the issues, right? So today that we are going to discuss that all about command injection is similar to like normal like injected vulnerabilities. At last we will discuss like path injection, but the difference is that in a path injection where that the attacker will give that the complete path of the outside root website folder directories, and in a command injection in the parameter where the attacker was tried to execute the any OS related command. Now in web application where that the attacker are able to execute that the command, basically that we can say not in all the parameter that we are able to execute that the command. For example, like if you have the parameter for username and the password, and if you are trying to execute the command in username and password, so maybe it is not execute, right? So as a dynamically we cannot see that like yes, there is any OS command injection in this particular parameter and all. If you getting that the if you seen that the header, then you have that the little bit idea related to like a output also when you send some malicious payload. But yes, there is a no direct way are there to detect that like yes, this is the command injection, we can directly execute that the uh, OS commands in this particular parameter and all. For that we can capture that the request using the bubshoot tool, and then we can according to the header we can analyze that like what actually action it was performed by this application and all. Then we can execute that the any command. But here we are discuss that in a code level. So in a code level, let's see like how we can identify that yes, in this code line we have that the OS command injection vulnerability. So first of all, again that we can see that the injection related issue are there. Till now that we can discuss that the cookie injection, path injection, and now we have that the command injection. Mostly vulnerabilities in any web application, we can see it is related to the injection like SQL injection, OS command injection, path injection, cookie injection, and all. In the injection related issues, what actually attacker was do, attacker was try to execute inject any malicious payload in the in any input parameter, right? As last we can also see in a path injection where the attacker was tried to execute that the malicious so not malicious means change the directory. It will try to change the directory, try to access that the web root directory, right? So in a OS command injection also that we can see where the attacker in any input field attacker was tried to execute any OS command that is running an application, and typically we can say if it is possible then it was maybe it was compromised that the application and its data, because we know like with the help of that the system command we can do a lot of things, right? That we can access that the directory, we can create some malicious files and many more things that we can do, right? We can just compromise that the other part of data, for example like the hosting infrastructure, or we can do that like the attacking other systems are also there, which was connected to the domain and all, right? So basically, in a command injection, when we can execute through the web application, the purpose only is to that the inject and execute that the command by that the attacker or in any vulnerable application. And situation is like that where we can execute the unwanted system command. It's just like a system shell, and the attacker was trying to access the authorized system, right? Authorized user, sorry. Basically, in our web application, we can see that we have the normal user. Generally, we can see if it is user is unauthorized user, right? So using that the command, the target of the attacker is only to access the authorized user. That was the purpose of the attacker to execute the OS command injection in a real-time scenario, right? In a real-time scenario, you can also see like when you solving CTFs in any web application, so you have some type of the tasks are there in the command line that you are trying to execute the command, but you are not able to execute it because it is not, you don't have the permission of the root and all. And sometime also that you can try to open that the file, but you are not able to do that, right? So in that case, using that the command injection, that we are uh, see that like how the attacker was execute that the command and all. So basically, when we are execute first time, so you get the same privileges. And command injection are possible due to lack of the correct input data validation again, because see, most of the injected related vulnerability, attacker only have the two choice to execute it. One is that from URL, second is from the any input parameter like a form, search parameters and all. The third way are also there to inject the vulnerabilities, but not all. In a header, response header and all, where the attacker was trying to inject the host header injection, right? It is not execute that the path injection are there in all the time. Basically, it is also do that sometime, but mainly we can see the path injection related attack that the attacker was generally executed by the URL parameter. Command injection also that we can do with the help of the uh, in a header response also, like capturing the request from above shoot, and then we can do that. Basically, it is very easy way to do that, because in above shoot at a time you can get the response also. So that's why that attacker was do this type of things. And also in a header response, attacker also have that the idea that yes, this application have that the some of the OS command related things are there, because there is some parameters are there, fixed parameter. In OS command injection, you have the fixed parameter like a fixed function. Basically, the function and the parameter both are the same name in all the languages. So basic here we can see like that the attacker was the manipulated this all these things by the forms, cookie also, and the HTTP header. All right. So these all are the three injected points from where the attacker was inject the command injection. Other vulnerabilities are also there, injected related things, but yes, in a command injection that the attacker was performed the vulnerabilities by this three following ways are there: form, cookie, and last one is the HTTP header. So OS command injection, so basically that we can know, like now we know that the attacker was execute the system level commands through the vulnerable application, and from the user input generally it was do that. So first of all, that the attacker was identify this vulnerability in application, which was allow them to the execute that the OS command, and then after that the attacker was dynamically generated some type of the web page using HTML code, and then through the input mechanism such as like a form and the field and all this one, so attacker was trying to inject that. Also we can see if it is OS command injection, so obviously that attacker are able to create the files using the nano command if it is are in a Linux. So with the help of this one, maybe that the attacker dynamically generated the any web page which was written in a JavaScript also, right? If it is like cross-site scripting also, attacker was performed with the help of the JavaScript. Once the code was inserted onto the any web page, then it was browse the intercept the code, and then it was allowed to attacker to execute that the specific command onto the user's computer. And it was along with the user network, obviously, like without network that we cannot perform this type of the things. All right, so now, as we know, what was the impact of this attack? So the impact is, we can say, where the attacker maybe that the access the sensitive files like a database related file, still the customer records from the application, and many more things that was done by the attacker. And main that we can see DOS attack is the possible, right, with the help of the OS command injection. Very easy attack through the OS command injection is the DOS attack, where the attacker was create some type of this script, and it was sent that the malicious request again and again. Simple, it was do with the help of the simple looping condition we can say, right? So this type of the attacks where the attacker was performed with the help of the OS command injection. So these all are, like, we can see the critical things where the attacker was trying to access that the applications. So there are the many solutions for that. Solution is like you can block the access to the vulnerable script, right? As a developer, we can also like as a security reviewer, we can also suggest to a developer to block the third party script. Sometime what happened that we can say is a DOS attack. So attacker was generate some type of the malicious script using the OS command injection. See, in real time attacker was not execute the ls command and all this one. The main purpose of the attacker is to try to access the some sensitive information from the web application. So obvious thing is that the attacker was create some type of the malicious script, right? Bash shell script if it is in a Linux, and PowerShell if it is in a Windows, right? It is depend on to the server. Most probably we can say Linux server, right? Target server in a web application, we have the Linux web server. So in that case, that the attacker was simple generate the shell script. And sometime in a web application, we can say that attacker was create some type of the phishing pages, like malicious type of the forms using the HTML. So this type of the attacks that's done by the attacker. So temporary solution is that we can blocking the access to the vulnerable script, like in a development phase. But this was not a permanent solution. Permanent solution is like we can just give that here we will create a whitelisting, and it is very easy at easy code to solve this type of the issue. So how we can prevent from this OS command injection? So first is very important thing which was common in all the injection related attack is validating the input field. Right, this was is the common method for all the injection, like when you see that any form. So the very important thing is that validating the input field. This was or that the first method is not to secure the only OS command injection. It was secured the many other injection vulnerabilities are also there, like about the cross-site scripting and all. It is that the first step to validating the input field using that the filtering, using that regular expression, but it was not secure all the injections. For example, like if you are used that the validating in a cross-site scripting, so in that case that the normal payload was not work. So maybe that the attacker was trying to inject the payload are in an encrypted way. Same thing are in OS command injection also, right? But yes, it is that the first technique we will use the validating the input field. Second thing is that we can use the whitelisting method here. And why we use whitelisting? Because in OS command injection is possible to do, right? In other vulnerabilities, for example, in a path injection also we can use the whitelisting method, but it is not possible because in a path related thing like path injection, if we are use a whitelisting method, so in that case we need to use the many files, like in any web application almost you can see normal e-commerce application, so you will get that the 100 to 200 files. So in that case, if we are use the whitelisting on a path injection related thing, because in a path injection basically what was the attacker was do, attacker was try to open any file from the URL. So obviously it was try to open any file, so we need to whitelisting all the allow files, right? Like these all are the files are the allow from the URL, the rest of them are not, right? So in that case it is not possible to do that because there are the multiple files. So in that case the developer all time developer need to remember, like if in case if it is create a new file, there is some update in any application, so all the time developer will update the whitelisting also. So that's why we can discuss that some other method to prevent the path injection. But yes, whitelisting method is possible in a command injection. Let's see how. So now in OS command injection, dynamically when you get that in a header response, so how you identify that yes in the application that you have that the OS command injection. So in this vulnerability normal is a dynamically using that the header. So if you see the header like a system function, and these all are the same function also in a code level also in all language, system execute eval. These three functions, one more, shall execute. This four common function that we have in all the language is from a code level. With the help of this four function, as a developer we can execute the command, right? If we want to execute the command from a code level, so we can use any of the one of function from this four. This only these four functions are there, right? In PHP, JSP and the ASP. Yes, in ASP.NET you have some other functions also, for example like HTTP request dot parameter sometime. But yes, in the code level you can see these all are the four functions which was common in all the language. You can see the execute, you can see the eval, you can see the shell underscore execute, and most probably you will see that the system function in a JSP and in a .NET. In a .NET sometime you can also see the function like HTTP request dot we can say like dot item dot parameters and dot URL also sometime. But yes, in a code level mostly you can see these four functions are there in any language. If in case if it is any vulnerable application for the OS command, and same header also, right? Header you can see these all are the following headers in HTTP request dot item dot parameters. These all are the header actually. Dot URL, right? These all are the headers when you analyze the application in above shoot. So you can see these all are the some headers, you will see that, and after that you can execute the any of the command and all. In a code level these all are the some functions. If you see, that means it is a vulnerable if it is not use proper validating, or if it is not use a proper whitelisting method. Whitelisting method we are use here to secure this type of the things. And in the whitelisting what we can do, why we use whitelisting method here, see that the reason is that in OS command injection, like when we can execute that, so how we can execute, for example if we have the one URL test.com, and after that any functions are there, for example shell execute maybe, okay, shell execute, equals to whatever input we given by as a user. After that, what we can do, we can execute any command. Same thing we can do in a bub shoot also sometime, right? Sometime in URL, if it is not possible, in an input is not possible, so we can send the request from the bub shoot, right? Same thing are there. You can find that the header, and after that you can give some input, and then after that you can using this like method trick, and then you can execute the command. So first of all, let me just create the vulnerable code, and then we can discuss it how we can secure that. So in OS command injection, OS command injection, and input type text. And right now from a code level we need to execute some command. So for in this example, we can use simple ping request, okay, to see that like as a user we can write only the IP, but output of this particular code is give that the ping request. So I will give the simple IP. Submit. If is set dollar post submit, okay, and after that we can execute the command. String and php uname is that the function is detect that the which OS currently is running. We can give that Windows OS, and in the cmd variable as we can execute the command. So shell execute is that the function where developer was execute that the command from the code line, right? So now in a shell execute, after that we need to give any command which was we want to execute. Okay, so here if you want to execute the ping, and then whatever over the target is over the IP, and in else also we can do the same code. I will give that the 3 request. Target is over the IP, and here we can print and same thing we print here also. Okay, so pre means like a pre-formatted output, as just like in a command we can get that, right? So now let's execute it. Okay, and alright, if it is normal user was come, then it was tried to access that give that the normal IP only, and when we can submit it, so hopefully it was give good result. Yes, it was, right? But now as a attacker, now we know that uh, this result is without this result is come with the ping command. Without ping is not possible, right? So obviously we can, as a attacker, that we know that like in a backend developer was try to execute some command when I will give any IP address, right? Because we know without ping this result is not possible, right? So now in a command we have three options, right? Like we know when I will give that the any IP and then we can submit it, so it was give that the result, right? So we know like it was give that the result, so first command is executed, that was a ping with over IP. Now we want to execute one more command in a single line. So how we can do that in our normal command? We have the three possibilities are there. One is that using this one, second is that using that the ampersand, and third one is that we can use semicolon in some Linux and Windows sometime. But yes, this three ways from command, if you want to execute the two or three command or multiple command, right? Two or more command if you want to execute in a single line, so we can go with this three characters like pipeline or maybe the ampersand symbol, or sometimes semicolon also, right? In Ubuntu I think that semicolon was also used. Only these three ways where the command was kept, and it was give that the result of our the command. So attacker also is use this any of them. For example, now attacker was know that first command is the ping command, right? So ping command, it was using this IP, and after that and then what we can do, we will give that the dir. So dir, because right now we are working on a Windows, so that's why here we are execute the Windows command. So when we can submit it, so first it was execute the ping command, after that we can see it was execute the dir command. So now we know how it was possible. Maybe that the attacker also used this one also, right, in OS command injection, and then it was give the result. So now after that, and maybe that the attacker was execute any other command also, right? It is possible to execute to create any file or any other thing also are possible. So now here what we need to do, now we know that only this three things are there, only these three ways are there where the attacker was execute that the any command, right? So what we can do here, we can using the whitelisting method, what we can do, we can block this three character, right? Once it was come from this input field like this one, this one, and this one, so automatically it was convert into the blank space, right? And if it is convert to the blank space, after that the 127.0.01 and is convert to the blank space, so it was not execute any command, right? It was say some type like bad parameters and something like that, because after that it was only count the parameter, not any command, right? So here we have the these three are there. So how we can secure that? So here we are use the simple substitution method using the array. So first of all we use array because we have 3 characters, right? I will go in a next line. First is that and which we want to convert into the blank space. Second is the double pipeline. If it is, then we can convert onto this one. And the last one is semicolon, which we can convert onto the single space. You can use other character also if you want to use, like let's say if it is used single and only, right? If you want to convert them, then we can also do that. Okay, we can create a list of all the characters, all the special characters, sorry. Okay, so you can use all the special character also, okay, if you want to use. So, and then semicolon it. So now here we use the substitute of the array, and then the last is that the target variable, because here we will take that the target for the request IP. So in a target variable, I will overwrite with that string replace with array keys with substitute and replace with the value of the array, where the target parameter. So see, string replace. So here we have in an array which was stored in a substitute array having the 2 parameter, key and the value, right? So we want to replace and with this one, pipeline with this one, semicolon with this one, and with this one, and single pipeline with this one, right? So these all are the stored in array keys. So basically our logic is array keys are stored in a substitute variable. If I use directly substitute without array key function, so in that case it is considered as a value, right? But in first position we want to use these keys are there, then we can replace with this value, right? So that's why we can replace with array keys which was stored on a substitute. That means here in this line we use all these characters which are stored in the array. Then we can replace with the blank space, and where we can do in order target variable, because in a target variable we can take request from the user, right? So here you can see that this line are that the secured code, right? Here we can secure that the code. I will just comment it out. Right, so this is how that we can secure the code. Now what happened here, when the and was come in the URL, so it was replaced with the blank space. If it has come that the pipeline, so again it was converted into the blank space. And in that case, if you want to use any other character, right, this whitelisting not only for this one, see, right? So if you are use any character, then you can just separate by the comma and you can just give it that, and that's it. This is how we can generate the whitelisting, right? Same thing you can also do with the path injection also at the last. In a path injection also, that we can see dot and the slash, right? If you want to remove, so we can also do that. And the same thing you can also use in any other vulnerabilities, or not any vulnerabilities all the time. You can use any other weakness also, right? In a code level you can use anywhere where you don't want to allow some characters, right? Because see, and pipeline semicolon, this is not part of the any user input, right? If we are as a developer, or if the website, right, let's forward to developer, if any website is asking for you to the IP, so IP is never start with the and pipeline semicolon and all, right? So in that case we can block these all are the characters, right? And if it is encoded, so obviously encoded are also work with the some characters, so you can use all the characters are there, right? All are the characters that you can use, like the dollar symbol also that we can use, hash we can also use. So we can use all the special character and then we can replace to the blank space. This is how that we can implement the whitelisting method. Whitelisting method and the blacklisting. This is the blacklisting method. Basically we are blocked, this all are the character. Whitelisting method where we allow only this thing, right? For example, if we want to allow only this 3 file, that is known as a whitelisting method. This is also done by the array. Okay, so now let's see how it was work. Now let's refresh over the application with the same input, this one, submit it. As you see, it was give the back parameter is dir, because dir is the command. Now this dir command is execute with the ping command. And how it was, see, first we can execute the command is ping. After that we can execute the dir. So in that case what happened, after the ping it was execute the dir command. But now what was happen, as a attacker we give that the input as a and, but it was convert into the blank space, right, like this. And when we hit the enter, so see, same output was come is back parameter directory. So that's why it was come. And the same thing is happen in a Linux also, obviously, because in a Linux also we have this all these 3 character. If in case if it is any other character if you have in your mind, like yes, this one also, this is also that the character that you want to block, so you can also use that, right? So you can convert into that the blank space, you can convert whatever you want. For example, if you want to convert into that the dot slash, so in that case it was convert into the dot slash out there. Okay, so let's see it was implemented or not. If I will give this converted, see, it was converted into the dot slash hardware, right? So this is all up to you. Okay, if you convert onto the blank space all the time we can use, because it was just like a space, so it was removing some type of the character and all, right? So this is how that we can implement that the simple blacklisting method, whitelisting method. Whitelisting method where you can create a same thing, is the means that the allowed means that you are all allowed these all are the pages. For example, in a path injection, if you do the same thing for a path injection, and how you can do that, in that case you cannot convert it, you can create the array, that's it, right? And then you cannot replace here, you can give that in array, like if in a target only open which are available in array. So here you can use only the simple function is called the in array. I will just write that the simple code also, if yeah, here it is. So the whitelisting method that we can use, for example, first that we can create a one function is called the allowed. Now here we can give that the name of the file that we want to allow, for example home, FAQ, and the other like about, right? These all are the files if you want to allow. And then we can give that in a page variable we can allow only the file which was are in array. So in page we allow only these things are there. Okay, and then after that sorry, in our case not a page, site is over the variable. Okay, so here you can use that the site, and then you can use that the include site function, right? So this is how that we can create the whitelisting method which was available are in the array and all. And okay, and this is OS command injection that we can see. This is how that we can secure that, right? This is that all the OS command injection related issue. So yes, this is how that we can secure the OS command injection, right? And this is how that we can implement that whitelisting method using that the array. So that's it for today, that we can discuss that all that about the OS command injection. Now we meet on tomorrow with the next issue. Okay, is that file uploading is not, yes. So tomorrow that we can discuss file upload attacks, right? We can, in file upload attack, again that we can use some whitelisting method for the fixed extensions, right? So that's it for today. So now if anyone any question, any doubt related to this one or any other else, then you can ask me. Otherwise that we can meet on tomorrow. Yes. Okay, so if you have any question, then you can ask me. Otherwise we can left the meeting.